when you have a process, we want to deal with a process plant situation, what happens?
Now, I would like to just first of all tell you about a fatwa that was given by mechanical slaughter of meat by Darul Iftah in Leicester, UK, Muhammad ibn Adam. What he said is, for example, finally, one must remember that machine slaughter is a new phenomenon created by the rapid progress in modern technology. This is obvious that it is impossible for one to find express rulings with regards to it in classical sources of Islamic jurisprudence. Thus, there may be some differences of opinion with regards to the issues, and we respect the opinion of the scholars, so that it was not found in the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Okay? What is the position now?
That's right.
But one thing I would like to put up first of all, even if there is variations amongst the scholars, it is not right for some scholars to say, only we are correct and the others are wrong. This is halal and this one is haram. Because we'll see in the same fatwa and other places where some scholars say, for example, with regards to stunning, with regards to mechanical slaughtering, they have permitted it, and I guess we'll be discussing a lot of it.
In detail.
And unfortunately, you have some saying, haram, haram, haram. That is unfortunate. And we need to educate the people exactly what is the Islamic position regarding these issues.
And we need to re-emphasize that the three conditions was
taking the name of Allah, letting the blood flow, and the person should be a Muslim.
Right. So basically that is the key issue. Right? And the others are really questions of ijtihad at the time that it is being discussed. And this is our time. And we are discussing it in that context
Inshallah.
to be able to inform the Muslims as to what is or what is not. Right? So let us look at the question of stunning. Stunning came about as a result of the pressure being given to authorities, and from two points of view. One, the question of health and sanitation, and two, the question of the cruelty to animals. Those two pressure groups caused the governments of Europe and America, Europe in the first instance and then America, to come about and find a suitable way to minimize the cruelty to the animals, which is exactly what Muslims want to do. So that is what the basis of what stunning came about. What is the argument against stunning from a Muslim perspective?
Perhaps I could make an input in this point. The origin, as we know, is the slaughtering of the animal has a certain way that must be done according to the Islamic Sharia, the Islamic law, and that's the origin. And the conditions, as we have already outlined, must be fulfilled. Along with that, there are certain etiquettes that must go along with it at the time of slaughtering, and even just immediately after the slaughtering. Certain conditions, or what we say, the etiquettes, must be fulfilled. And one is that we have to make sure, if it is done mechanically, we have to make sure that the three conditions are fulfilled. That means the name of Allah, as we mentioned, the cutting of the veins and so on. And that we have to make sure the blood is flowed. And we have to make sure that the animal does not suffer at the time of the slaughtering or the stunning, or when this machine is taking the life of this animal. Additionally, we have to make sure that this machine is well controlled, so that after the animal neck has been cut, for example, that the animal dies, the bird itself dies before the bird is immersed in hot water, or before the feathers are taken from it, or a part of the bird is being cut. You know, all of this, Islam has placed a lot of stress in taking the life of the animals and treatment of animals in general. And we have seen that in many of the sayings of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with regards to how we should treat the animal. Even, for example, the instrument that you're using, let's say you're sharpening the knife, you cannot do that in front of the animal. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has prohibited his companions from doing even that. You cannot do that in front of the animal because the animal knows.
And the cut should be quick and
as fast as
accurate
possible.
And perfect.
And the whole idea about all of this is to actually let the animal die as quick as possible and to allow the blood to flow out, to come out. Most of the blood will go out. All right? And because Muslims are not allowed to consume blood, so you want to, as much as possible, to go out. So if I'm saying that therefore, if it is done mechanically, there must be certain conditions and etiquette that must be ascertained before it will be allowed. And I do recall that the Fiqh Council of Saudi Arabia and its deliberation about the mechanical slaughtering and also the stunning in the year 1997. It's a long, it's an old fatwa. Initially, they had mentioned that stunning is allowed and they give for certain animals, but they said specifically for birds, it was not allowed. And the reason they mentioned is that because when the birds were stunned, by the time they reached to the point where it should be slaughtered, about 1/3 of them has already died because as a result of the stunning.
You see, if you don't mind me just intervene a little.
But now,
one thing.
Let me just finish and then we'll
So what we are saying is now, if that could be removed, in other words, if it is controlled properly, the stunning, because the reason why it is not allowed is because of that situation. But now if it can be controlled, that you are sure that the bird will not die as a result of stunning, all right, then it will be allowed. Because the reason why they're saying it is not allowed is because most of the birds will die as a result of the stunning. But I understand now with the technology and the advancement of technology, they can control that. So therefore, it will be allowed.
I know you have visited recently, in not since, earlier than 1997, some slaughterhouses, and you could probably give us a full
the first thing is, the fatwa that was given, and which a lot of the organizations, even in Trinidad, use today against stunning, that fatwa was given, and I agree with that. Why? Because the method used for stunning then was really harsh, and 33% of the birds used to die. And we in Trinidad, at the beginning, we were against stunning also, because of the same thing. The voltage was not controlled. Now you have, the whole thing is controlled by computer. And our finding with one of the plant here is 4 in 1,000 die. So that it is now a different scenario. And even those people who gave the fatwa then should revise their information and the data that they use for issuing that fatwa. I think that need to be revisited because it is now completely different. So that, look, I have, for example, the fatwa of Malaysia. And you know, Malaysia, it is controlled by the government. Right. And they have a committee set up for that. With regards to poultry, electrical stunning of poultry is allowed using water bath stunner only. The strength of the current shall be supervised by a trained Muslim. So that it is not just so, it is not helter-skelter. Right. Look, even from Yemen, the fatwa that came, fatwa from Darul Mustafa, Yemen. As for the legality of the legality of the meat, if the situation is that the questioner described, that the animal recovers and returns to its natural state 20 seconds after having been stunned, then it is lawful even if the animal is in a lifeless state at the time of slaughter. So you see, the whole question is the knowledge of utilizing the system and the control and supervision. We know that if the animal dies when it is stunned before it is slaughtered, or if the animal dies before it is slaughtered, whether it is stunned or not, that bird cannot be used because it comes out red, and red meat of chicken is unhealthy and it is not acceptable.
And all plants have quality control.
Quality control and health control. That's also. Right. There is a health inspector attached to ensure that the quality of the meat, and they will know that if it is stunned and it affects the animal before it reaches the time of slaughter, right, or if the blood does not flow out properly, if the animal was not properly slaughtered, it means that it will not bleed sufficiently before it goes into the hot water. Those birds will be rejected.
I just want to re-emphasize what Sheikh Munaf has indicated in terms of the innovative technologies that continues to improve. We would know 30 years ago to have a laptop
was inconceivable.
Right? 30 years ago we're talking about. Right? And electricity is used only among humans from a medical standpoint. They treat manic depression with electricity shocks. To revive your heart, if you're almost gone, they use electric shocks. Therefore, the level of control that you have, they do now surgery with laser on your eye, on your cornea, on your kidneys. Very, very yes. Technical, and it's done. So we have to understand the age we are living in and what could be done. So in terms of controlling the amount of electricity that are going to any particular thing, the technology is there now to be able to have it done. So the question, as you said, the question was whether it was killing the birds before, and was 33% was a large percentage. Now, as you said, 41,000, 9.04, right, of a percentage. So from that perspective, it is something. Now, I was talking to one of the processors, and they're telling me, because they are trying to satisfy the Muslim population and not use stunning, they are losing 15%
of damaged
birds on the wings because they beat up after they get slaughtered. Whereas with stunning, that is not the case. Now, of course, that impacts on the cost to the consumer. If they're able to reduce that 15%, the prices would be adjusted accordingly. So those are issues that we have to understand as Muslims and deal with.
You see, brother, the important thing is, at the time of slaughtering, is the bird alive or not?
That's right.
And that is the important thing, you know. If stunning allows it to remain alive for a certain amount of time, then what is wrong? Because you are not slaughtering a dead bird. You are slaughtering a living bird. And because it is alive, the blood will flow.
And not only that, it is, they started to do stunning to reduce the cruelty to the bird itself.
I think I'd like to come in here.
Yeah, sure.
Not because in Europe and the United States they have said that they're reducing cruelty, they're reducing cruelty. Actually, many of them hold that to slaughter, cut the neck, that is cruelty, and you should electrocute the animals and the birds. So we do not accept completely what they are saying about cruelty. And it has been found that when you slaughter the animal by measuring, you know, the waste from the brain, etc., that the animal does not feel pain because it goes into a state of unconsciousness before, you know, because of the slaughtering. So let us not take that this reduction of cruelty. I think as far as the poultry goes, in order to facilitate the slaughtering, that is what they use the stunning for, right? So I think we still have a lot to find out about this reduction of cruelty, right? So I think we should leave that. Yes, the stunning of the poultry is being done in order to make it easier for the birds to be slaughtered in a larger number, right? And also to avoid the damage that you're speaking about. And even Mufti Taqi Usmani in the book that he wrote about the Ahkam al-Zabaih is that unless the animal has died, then that is the only time it will be unlawful if it died before slaughtering, right? So the stunning does not cause it to be unlawful. But, you know, I would like to express a difference of view here about mechanical slaughtering. Not because technology comes in, we accept, you know, we continue to improve the technology. So far, there are still many persons, although there are many on the other side as well, who hold that mechanical slaughtering, if it satisfies the requirements, the birds would be halal. I mean, there are others who hold up to now that no, that the animal needs to be physically slaughtered by a Muslim, not slaughtered by a machine. That is not a Muslim, right? So, you know, this is my position. So my
machine is not a Muslim.
No, the machine who is not a living Muslim, right? Well, so,
no, serious, I mean,
so while, yes, on the point of stunning, that it has been seen that once the animal does not die, and as far as poultry goes, it's not a cruel method. The kind of stunning they use for cows, etc., is a cruel method. You know, but we're not discussing that today. Once the poultry, the birds do not die, then and it is being done in a very controlled way, as Maulana Wafi is saying, then this is allowed. The poultry be halal if it is slaughtered properly. But so far, I would like to say that I still follow the view of those scholars who hold that mechanical slaughtering is not.
Can I just bring in an eye-opener?
What was the reason for the not agreeing with the mechanical slaughter?
The mechanical slaughtering, because a machine is slaughtering and not a human being.
Can I just bring in an eye-opener? Just a little brain teaser.